What if I told you that the weather pattern developing over North America right now is going to rewrite the winter playbook for the next 3 weeks? What if I told you that 3 separate Arctic invasions are lining up like dominoes, ready to fall one after another, plunging 2/3 of the United States into a sustained, deep freeze? You'd probably want to know exactly when, where, and how severe, and that's exactly what I'm going to tell you. At minute 3:15, I'm revealing the 3 most critical danger zones where this pattern creates life-threatening conditions. And by minute 5, you'll have the exact action plan that emergency management professionals use to prepare for events like this. Let me start with a statistic that should make you sit up straight. 50%. That's how much your risk of a car accident increases during the first 2 hours of winter precipitation. Not after a foot of snow has fallen.
During the first 2 hours when roads transition from dry to icy, that transition period, that's when most people get hurt because they haven't adjusted their driving yet. They're still going highway speeds on roads that have become skating rinks. This Friday, December 26th, 50 million Americans are going to experience that dangerous transition period all at the same time. Are you ready for it? Right now, a monster storm is attacking the West Coast with biblical fury, and I use that word intentionally. We're seeing rainfall amounts and snow totals that only happen once every several years. 1/2 foot of rain in some locations, 8 feet of snow in the Sierra Nevada. 8 feet! That's enough to bury a pickup truck. That's enough to collapse structures not designed for that kind of snow load. But California and the Pacific Northwest, as bad as your situation is, you're actually the preview. You're showing the rest of the country what happens when atmospheric dynamics go into overdrive. Because the same energy that's pummeling you right now is going to reorganize over the Great Lakes and unleash hell across the Northeast. I don't use that word lightly. This is going to be a hellish travel period for tens of millions of Americans. Here's something most weather forecasters won't tell you. The European model and the American GFS model are in rare agreement about Friday's storm. When these 2 computer models, which often disagree on details, show the same outcome, you need to pay attention. They're both showing significant ice across Michigan. They're both showing heavy wet snow from Pennsylvania through New York. They're both showing a fast-moving, intense system that doesn't give you much warning. 6 hours. That's how quickly this storm goes from light precipitation to heavy, dangerous winter weather. 6 hours to get home, get off the roads, get prepared. If you're planning to travel Friday, you need to be wherever you're going by noon. By 6 p.m. Friday, travel will be dangerous or impossible across huge sections of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. In Matthew 24, verse 44, Jesus said, "Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." He was talking about his return, but the principle applies to all of life. Unexpected events require constant readiness. This storm is not unexpected. You're being warned right now. The question is, will you be ready? Let me walk you through this storm minute by minute, hour by hour, so you know exactly what's coming. Christmas Day tomorrow. Festive flurries across New England. Light snow. Pretty snow. The kind that makes Christmas morning magical. Enjoy it. Take pictures. Make memories. Because 24 hours later, the weather is going to be anything but magical. Friday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, snow begins falling across the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Light at first. People looking out their windows think, this isn't bad. But 6 a.m. is just the beginning. By 9 a.m. Friday, freezing rain develops across lower Michigan. Detroit starts seeing ice accumulation. Road crews scramble to pre-treat highways, but they're fighting a losing battle. You can't stay ahead of freezing rain. It coats everything it touches. Noon Friday, the icing intensifies. Quarter-inch accumulations are occurring across a broad area, from Grand Rapids to Detroit to Cleveland. Tree branches start coming down. Power flickers. Goes out in scattered locations. Comes back. Goes out again. 3 p.m. Friday, snow overspreads northeast Pennsylvania. Scranton reports heavy snow beginning. Visibility drops rapidly. The southern tier of New York, Binghamton, Elmira, they're getting hammered with wet, heavy snow. 6 p.m. Friday, New York City metro area, snow begins. And it's not the light, fluffy stuff. First reports indicate large, wet flakes. This is heart attack snow, the kind that's exhausting to shovel because it's so heavy. 9 p.m. Friday, peak intensity across the I-95 corridor. Philadelphia to New York to New Haven, everyone's getting pounded. Snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. Thunder snow reported in multiple locations. When you hear thunder during a snowstorm, that's nature telling you this is an intense system. Midnight, Friday into Saturday. The storm reaches its maximum intensity. This is when the heaviest snow falls. This is when accumulations pile up fastest. This is when roads become completely impassable. 3 a.m. Saturday. The storm begins pulling away. Snow rates decrease. The worst is over. But the damage is done. By sunrise Saturday, 8 to 10 inches covers the ground in New York City, 6 to 8 inches in Philadelphia, 4 to 6 inches in Boston. And across Michigan and Pennsylvania, a 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice encases everything. Trees down everywhere, power lines snapped like twigs, hundreds of thousands without electricity. In some areas, over 1 million people sitting in dark, cold homes. That's the timeline. That's what's coming. Now, here are the 3 critical danger zones I promised you. Danger Zone 1, the ice belt from Detroit through Cleveland. This 40-mile wide corridor is going to get absolutely devastated by ice. Ice accumulation heavy enough to cause widespread, prolonged power outages. We're talking about 3 to 5 days without power for some communities. In late December, with Arctic air moving in behind the storm, people are going to get cold, really cold, and cold kills. Hypothermia doesn't just happen to homeless people outdoors. It happens to elderly people in their own homes when the heat goes out and temperatures inside drop to 40 or 50 degrees.
Check on your elderly neighbors starting Saturday. Not just once, every day. Make sure they're warm. Make sure they have food. Make sure they're okay. Danger Zone 2, the urban corridor from Philadelphia to Boston. 50 million people live in this region. When you paralyze that many people with heavy snow simultaneously, the cascading effects are enormous. Hospitals struggle to staff fully. Emergency services get overwhelmed with calls. Supply chains disrupted. Food deliveries delayed. Everything that makes modern urban life function smoothly breaks down. And it doesn't take a catastrophic snow total to cause these disruptions. 8 inches is enough. 10 inches definitely does it. Cities aren't designed to handle millions of people all having problems at the same time. There aren't enough tow trucks. There aren't enough repair crews. There aren't enough emergency responders. You need to be self-sufficient for at least 48 to 72 hours after this storm. Don't count on help arriving quickly. It won't. Danger Zone 3, the post-storm cold across the entire eastern United States. This is the danger that people overlook. They focus on the storm itself and forget about what comes after. Arctic air pours in Saturday night and Sunday. Temperatures in the teens and single digits. Wind chills below zero from the Great Lakes to the Canadian border. Any wet surfaces freeze solid. Black ice everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Side streets, main roads, parking lots, sidewalks, driveways. More people get injured falling on ice after the storm than during the storm. Broken hips, broken wrists, concussions, especially among older adults who have balance issues to begin with. Sand or salt your walkways Saturday afternoon before it gets dark and temperatures drop. This one action could prevent a serious injury. Now let me give you the action plan I promised. This is what emergency managers do before major winter events. This is professional level preparation distilled down to practical steps anyone can take. Step 1. Water. 1 gallon per person per day.
Minimum 3-day supply. That's 12 gallons for a family of 4. Sounds like a lot, but when your pipes freeze or water treatment plant loses power, you'll be grateful for every gallon. Don't forget water for pets. They need it too. Step 2. Food that doesn't require cooking. Peanut butter, bread, crackers, granola bars, canned fruit, canned vegetables. Stuff you can eat straight from the package or can if necessary. If you have a gas stove, great, you can still cook. But if you have an electric stove and the power goes out, you're stuck eating cold food. Plan accordingly. Step 3. Medications. Make sure you have at least a week's supply of any critical medications. If you're due for a refill, get it now. Don't wait until after the storm. Step 4. Heat source. If your primary heat is electric and you lose power, what's your backup? Fireplace? Generator? Can you go to someone else's house? Figure this out before Friday night, not during. Step 5. Communication plan. If cell towers go down or get overwhelmed, how will you contact family? Do you know your loved one's phone numbers, or are they just stored in your phone? Write down critical numbers. Keep them in your wallet or purse. Step 6. Cash. ATMs require electricity. Credit card machines require internet. If those systems fail, cash is king. Have at least $100 to $200 in small bills. Step 7. Vehicle preparation. Full tank of gas, emergency kit in the trunk, blankets, water, food, flashlight, first aid kit, jumper cables, small shovel, sand, or kitty litter. That kit could save your life if you get stuck or stranded. 7 steps. 7 actions you can take today and tomorrow to be truly prepared for what's coming. In 1 Thessalonians 5:8, Paul writes, "But since we belong to the day, let us be sober, putting on faith and love as a breastplate, and the hope of salvation as a helmet." Being sober means being clear-headed, rational, not panicked, but also not complacent. It means taking appropriate action based on real information. That's what I'm asking you to do. Be sober. Be prepared. Take action. Now let me tell you about what happens after this storm, because the story doesn't end Saturday. Sunday morning, you wake up to temperatures in the teens across the Northeast, single digits across the Midwest. This is the first Arctic shot. But here's what makes this winter pattern different from typical winters. Usually, Arctic air comes down, stays for a few days, then moderates. Temperatures bounce back, we get a break. Not this time. This time, the Arctic air barely retreats before another shot arrives. Then another. Then another. The jet stream has locked into a pattern that favors repeated Arctic intrusions, and once these patterns establish, they tend to persist. We're looking at 2 to 3 weeks of sustained cold across the eastern 2/3 of the country. Not constant cold, there will be brief warm-ups, but the overall pattern favors below normal temperatures through at least mid-January. What does this mean practically? Higher heating bills. Expect your January utility bill to be significantly higher than normal. Natural gas and electricity consumption goes way up during sustained cold. Increased vehicle problems. Cold weather is hard on batteries, tires, and fluids. Make sure your car is winterized. Check your antifreeze. Check your battery. Check your tire pressure. Frozen pipes. When temperatures stay below freezing for extended periods, pipes in unheated areas can freeze. Crawl spaces, attics, exterior walls. Once a pipe freezes, if it bursts, you're looking at thousands of dollars in water damage. Run a small stream of water from faucets during the coldest nights. Moving water is much harder to freeze than still water. Around New Year's Eve, the second Arctic blast arrives. This one could be even colder than the first. Some models are showing temperatures 5 to 10 degrees colder than the first wave. Wind chills of -20 to -30 across the upper Midwest. Wind chills of 0 to -10 as far south as Tennessee and Arkansas.
At these temperatures, exposed skin freezes in 10 minutes, maybe less. If you must be outside, dress in layers. Cover all exposed skin. Limit your time outdoors. This is genuinely dangerous cold. Every winter, people die from hypothermia and exposure. Don't become a statistic. Then in the first week of January, we're watching for potential storm development. This is where it gets really interesting from a meteorology standpoint.
There's energy in the Pacific that's going to eject into the cold air mass over North America. When warm, moist Pacific air collides with Arctic continental air, storms form. Sometimes big storms. It's too early for specifics. We're talking about events 7 to 10 days out. But the pattern is favorable for winter storm development somewhere in the eastern United States during the first full week of January. Keep watching forecasts. Pay attention to updates. This active pattern is going to keep us on our toes for weeks. Let me talk about something that's critically important but often overlooked: mental health during winter storms and cold spells. Being trapped indoors is stressful. Losing power is stressful. Dealing with cold and dark and uncertainty is stressful. Some people handle it fine. Others struggle. Seasonal affective disorder is real. Winter depression is real. Add in a major storm and power outages, and people who are already vulnerable can spiral quickly. Check on people, not just physically, but emotionally. Ask how they're really doing. Listen to their concerns. Validate their feelings. And if you're struggling, reach out. Talk to someone. There's no shame in admitting winter is hard for you. Many people feel the same way. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." This verse is especially meaningful during difficult seasons. God doesn't abandon us in hard times. He draws near. He provides comfort. He gives strength. But he often does that through other people, through community, through friends and neighbors who show up and help. Be that person for someone else, and let others be that person for you. Now let me address specific cities and what you need to know. New York City, you're getting 8 to 10 inches of heavy, wet snow Friday night into Saturday morning. The kind of snow that shuts down the 5 boroughs. Plan for subway delays. Plan for traffic nightmares. Plan for flight cancellations at JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark. If you're supposed to fly Saturday, you're probably not flying. Rebook now while options exist. Philadelphia, you're looking at 6 to 8 inches with the potential for some mixing. Could be more snow, could be some sleet. Either way, it's enough to create major problems. I-95 through Pennsylvania is going to be a disaster Friday evening. Don't be on that highway unless absolutely necessary. Boston, you're on the northern fringe. 4 to 6 inches likely. Could be less if the storm tracks further south. Could be more if it tracks north. Either way, plan for disruption. Detroit, Cleveland, your ice storm Friday is your main concern. Then the cold. Protect your pipes. Have backup heat. Expect power outages. Pittsburgh, you transition from mix to rain. Western PA misses the worst. But State College and Points East, you're in the danger zone for significant ice. Washington, D.C., you're right on that rain-snow line. Could go either way. Current thinking is mostly sleet and possibly some snow. Monitor forecasts closely. A 20-mile shift in storm track makes a huge difference for you. Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany. You get some snow, but the worst stays south. Your bigger concern is lake effect Sunday and Monday after the Arctic air arrives. You know the drill. Stock up on milk and bread. Clear off the snowblower. Get ready. Now let's talk about the West Coast because you're in a different but equally challenging situation. California, you're getting hammered with repeated atmospheric river events. Storm after storm, rain after rain. The Sierra Nevada is going to be completely buried under snow. Interstate 80 will be impassable for periods Friday and Saturday, maybe longer.
Don't even try to cross the mountains this weekend. Lower elevations, flash flooding is your primary concern.
Los Angeles could see 3 to 5 inches of total rain by the weekend. That's flash flood producing rainfall. Burn scar areas face debris flow risk. If you live in or near areas burned by wildfires, have an evacuation plan. Don't wait for an order. If heavy rain starts and you feel unsafe, leave. Wind is another major issue. 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts along the coast. Trees will come down. Power will go out. Don't park under large trees. Secure outdoor items that could become projectiles. Seattle and Portland, you're getting strong winds and heavy rain too. Another system moves through Christmas Day, then another Saturday. This pattern is relentless. Stay off the water. Stay out of the mountains. Stay home if possible. Pacific storms don't get the media attention that East Coast storms get, but they're just as dangerous, just as disruptive. Take them seriously. Let me shift gears and talk about something practical. Food shopping before a storm. Every time a big storm is forecast, grocery stores get mobbed. The milk and bread sections empty out. It's become a running joke. But there's wisdom in making sure you have food before a storm. What should you buy? Not necessarily milk and bread, although those are fine if you'll use them. Think about meals you can prepare easily. Soup, chili, pasta with sauce, sandwiches, breakfast items like cereal and oatmeal. Don't forget about treats, cookies, chips, candy. When you're stuck inside for days, having comfort food makes a psychological difference. And coffee or tea. If you're a caffeine person, running out during a multi-day storm is miserable. Stock up. If you have a gas grill and propane, you can cook even without power. Many people don't think of this, but a gas grill can boil water, cook food, and provide a sense of normalcy during an outage. Just never, ever use a grill indoors. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills people every winter. Always use grills outside, away from the house, where ventilation is adequate. Here's something else people forget. Batteries. Flashlights don't work without them. If you have battery-powered radios, lanterns, or other devices, make sure you have spare batteries. LED flashlights are incredibly efficient. A good LED flashlight on fresh batteries can run for dozens of hours, worth the investment. Now I want to talk about something that might seem minor but matters: morale. Being stuck inside during a winter storm can feel oppressive, especially for kids. Especially if power is out and there's no TV, no internet, no devices. Have backup entertainment ready. Board games, cards, books, puzzles, activities that don't require electricity. Make it an adventure for kids. Build blanket forts. Tell stories by flashlight. Make s'mores over the fireplace if you have one. A positive attitude makes a huge difference in how people handle stressful situations. If parents are calm and treating it like an adventure, kids will too. If parents are stressed and negative, kids pick up on that and amplify it. Choose to make this an opportunity to slow down, to connect with family, to do things you normally don't have time for. Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's disruptive. But it's also temporary. The storm will pass. Power will be restored. Life will return to normal. But the memories you make during the storm, those can last forever. In Romans 5:3-4, Paul writes, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." Challenges shape us. They reveal what we're made of. They teach us that we're stronger than we think. This storm, this cold pattern, it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. An opportunity to practice resilience, to help neighbors, to trust God through difficult circumstances. Let me talk about something important: When power comes back on after an extended outage. Don't immediately turn on every appliance. Don't crank the heat to maximum. The power grid is fragile right after mass restoration. Sudden high demand can cause cascading failures. Let your house warm up gradually. Turn on lights one at a time. Space out use of major appliances. Check your food. If power was out for more than 4 hours, your refrigerator contents are probably unsafe. Throw out anything that's been at unsafe temperatures too long. Better to lose some groceries than to get food poisoning. Check for water damage. If any pipes burst during the freeze, you'll know quickly when you turn water back on. Have towels ready. Know where your main shutoff is. These post-storm issues cause almost as many problems as the storm itself. Be prepared for them. Now let's talk about the bigger picture, the pattern for January and beyond. This sustained cold pattern is likely to dominate through at least mid-January. Could extend into late January if the atmospheric configuration persists.
What ends it? Eventually the pattern breaks down. The jet stream shifts. Warmer air returns. But predicting exactly when is difficult this far out. What we can say is that winter is here. Real winter. And it's not going away anytime soon. Last year, many areas had a mild winter. This year is different. This year, winter means business. Make sure your homes are properly winterized. Make sure you have adequate heating fuel. Make sure you're prepared for extended cold. The pattern could produce additional winter storms in January. The setup is favorable. Pacific energy interacting with Arctic air. That combination produces snow. Where those storms track, how strong they become, those details are unknowable right now, but the potential exists. Stay informed. Check forecasts regularly. Don't assume one week tells you what the next week holds. In farming communities, there's a saying,
make hay while the sun shines. It means do the work when conditions allow, because conditions change. Right now, before Friday's storm, you can prepare, you can shop, you can stock up, you can make arrangements. After the storm hits, your options decrease dramatically. Roads are impassable, stores are closed, services are unavailable. Do the work now while conditions allow. In Ecclesiastes 3, Solomon wrote about there being a time for everything, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time for war and a time for peace. There's also a time to prepare and a time to hunker down. Right now is preparation time. Friday is hunker down time. Use your time wisely. Let me close with some final thoughts that I think are important. First, this is serious but manageable. With proper preparation, you can weather this storm safely. Don't panic, but don't be complacent either. Second, community matters. The people around you, your neighbors, your friends, your church family, these are your resources during difficult times. Connect with them. Help each other. Third, this storm will pass. The cold will moderate. Spring will come. Hard times are temporary. The lessons we learn and the connections we make can be permanent. Fourth, faith is practical. It's not just about believing. It's about trusting God enough to take wise action, to prepare, to help others, to remain calm in the chaos. Fifth, you are stronger than you think. You can handle more than you believe you can. This storm might challenge you, but it won't break you. Finally, joy is a choice. Even in difficult circumstances, you can choose gratitude, you can choose hope, you can choose to see blessings amidst challenges. As we face this winter storm and the cold pattern beyond it, may we do so with wisdom, with courage, with compassion, and with faith. May we be the kind of people who help rather than hinder, who encourage rather than complain, who trust rather than fear. May we emerge from this winter stronger, kinder, and more connected to the people around us. Stay safe, stay warm, stay prepared, and may God watch over you and yours through whatever comes. This is your winter weather briefing. Take it seriously. Share it with others who need to hear it. And know that we're all in this together. Until next time, be wise, be kind, be faithful.